Hey everyone, this is Getting Carried Away. I thought I would do another orchard update today on May 20th, 2023, 10 days after my last update here. And once again, I am starting with my Red Delicious apple tree. It's put it on plenty of growth here. You know, not exactly where I would want it to. A lot of the spurs that I thought were fruit buds, but turned out not to be, or may have been, but decided to just be vegetative buds this year. Well, they have put out a lot of branches. They're going inward towards the center of the tree. They are, not exactly where I'd want them, so I'll probably end up clipping those off not too long from now, but I just want to give them enough energy right now to just, make the roots grow a little bit more this summer. But anyway, taking a look at some of those grafts I did. Here is the one graft I did to the trunk of the tree. It's actually come together pretty nicely. It's got a stem growing on it now. So I'm pleased. I'm going to continue to leave the grafting tape on it and this aluminum foil on it to protect the graft, probably at least for another, I want to say 3 to 6 weeks. It just depends. If the tree starts looking kind of funky around it, once I take the tinfoil off to look at the actual grafting tape, then I might go ahead and just take it off. But the longer I have it on, the better chance of it fully sealing that grafting wound. And, we'll see what happens. So going over here to this graft, it's taken off really well. I just had to take a caterpillar off of it. So that was fun. But it's grown pretty well, and this one over here is too. So I'm very pleased with how much growth they put on. Pretty good sign that the graft has at least temporarily taken. But like I said, also going to be leaving the grafting tape on these for another 3 to 6 weeks, just to make sure it fully takes. And then next year, hopefully we'll have fruiting wood here and be able to get some fruit off of this tree. Because it just does not seem to want to produce Red Delicious so far, even though it did produce some off of this branch here. So, same story here. Pretty good growth on this graft. This is my Pink Lady apple tree. Since there's only 2 apples on this, I just went ahead and wrapped them up in some protective little pouches here that'll protect them from getting any sort of bugs eating on them, or any of the more deadly for the apple type of fungi in there. But unfortunately, I think I waited just a bit too late on this one up here. It's got a little bit of a spot on it, so maybe a bug got in there, one of those caterpillars. And so it may not be that edible. But we'll have to wait and see. That may just be a little spot on it. And then over here, this graft has also done very well, and I'm very happy with it. And both trees in general, like, that's crazy good growth for the top of this one. I need to get a spreader in here to spread this out so this becomes more fruit and wood out here. And I'm going to clip this top one here so it grows more branches off in the lateral direction, in the horizontal direction, not the lateral direction, because we don't want this tree going up to like 20 or 30 feet tall. We just wanted to keep it around 7-8 feet tall here. So looking pretty good there. Taking a look at this graft, once again, it's taken very nicely. I am leaving some of these little spurs down here from the rootstock, just because I do want to test the rootstock eventually. Maybe it'll have some edible apples. Maybe I'll make my own little variety here. I don't know, but I'm going to leave that. A couple of branches shouldn't really harm the graft. It should still be able to take off pretty well. Excuse me. Here is my Arkansas black apple tree here. It has a really good structure. I'm really happy with it. I will continue to let this main leader grow here, And then this fall, winter, I will snip it off when it's up about this high here, and that'll give me my second scaffold branch layers. And then taking a look at the graft down here, it's looking superb, though there is a little bit of damage from heat and probably drying out a little bit. But, you know, that's to be expected when you get temperatures in the mid-90s on a new graft. I mean, I waited pretty late to graft these, so it's not as nice as if it would have been in February instead of middle of April when I grafted them. Taking a look over here, another good graft going here, good growth on it. There's another one of the little shoots that I'm trying to get off of the rootstock, so hopefully that'll work well. And here, this one actually has a really nice little growth here, so I'm happy with that. And I'm happy with how it's really taken off after it didn't look like it was going to work out. It's really putting on some really good growth now. And the star of the show continues to put on really good growth as well. Very happy with it. Taking a look here at my Golden Delicious apple tree. Oh my gosh, this scaffolding here is just perfect. Like, you couldn't get better scaffolding on this. I mean, maybe this one over here, right here, a little further out, but that can be adjusted here. You know, I'm very pleased with it. So hopefully it'll start producing fruit next year, and I will, once again, like the other trees, I will probably snip it off about 6-7 feet tall come the end of the summer, and hopefully you know, tip these back a little bit. You always want to do summer pruning, and then I'll force fruit buds to grow on the tree. So cross some fingers, we will see. I did do a little investigation this morning on this one, that this graft here that hasn't really taken off yet. It had a bud on it that swelled and started to produce some leaves, but it fell off. I think it was just some heat, or it was compressed too long into the actual grafting tape. So I got a really sharp blade and cut that grafting tape off. Went back and looked at the actual speaking of which, I need to close this up a little more so it doesn't get too much sunlight. Went back and looked at the graft union, and it looks really good. Like, there's lots of callus tissue, it's green, it looks very healthy. So with that in mind, I tipped this back to the past the bud that fell off, and I have a bud down here on the bottom. So I'm hoping, if I can actually get it to zoom in on it, I'm hoping that it will actually, now that I have tipped it back to that one bud, usual response from trees when that happens, especially with ones that have already, you know, taken the graft, it looks like, is to force new growth, because they want to replace the growth that was taken off. So it kind of tricks the tree into just you know, wanting to grow out new growth. So we will see. Hopefully this bud doesn't also dry up and try to fall off, but the graft itself is alive. I just don't really know why it hasn't taken off yet. So let's go over to the other side of the yard. Less apples, more other varieties of things. Here I have a purple grape. I forget exactly which one. I know it's not seedless, unfortunately, but it's really taken off well. It's looking really good. I'm happy with it. And if you look down here, we have some grapes growing on it. Those will actually, you know, be very nice to eat later on. I have a lot of grapes that are on the ground, unfortunately, just because of how it grew and where the actual buds on the flowering buds were on this. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully next year, as it kind of scales this little fence here, it'll put on some flowering buds up on the fence, and so we'll get some better, more edible fruit off of it. Taking a look at my only remaining pear, because as I'll show in a second, my other pear unfortunately passed away, so I had to remove it and put a new tree in its spot. This is a pear I grew from seed, I want to say June, July, August time frame of last year. It's kind of lopsided with all the growth on this side, not much growth over here. So my plan for this is to maybe try to get a spreader in here and get this one branch to come out a little further. And then this fall, cut all this back to maybe like 5 or so branches. Hopefully that'll thicken them up before winter comes and it stops growing. And then I'll try to grass some pear varieties on here, a couple different pear varieties, because just like apples, pears need to have, most pears need to have a partner to make edible fruit. Otherwise they won't fruit at all. So I will try to actually get that to happen next year or the year after, really, because you need to give the grass a year to take. Down here, let me see if I can zoom. You know how my phone likes to be terrible at zooming and focusing. But I have a couple of crabapple offshoots. So I'll give you a little backstory here. Last year in the summer, I had a lot of my nectarines that I had on my back porch and crab apples and apples and stuff like that. I had them sitting out here in this general area in just 3-gallon growth buckets. So this here was just my phone calls it a crab apple. It might be a regular apple. I don't know, but we'll see. It was sitting pretty much right around here, and a root grew out of it and into the ground itself, and it got pretty big. I actually had to cut it off around it, but when I was taking it out, because I was just like, I have no room for it, so I'm just going to throw it away. And when I pulled it up, it ripped the root and left the root in there, but I guess the root decided, I'm not done, and decided to grow some crabapple offshoots here. So we'll see if they do anything. It'll be a long time before I get any sort of actual potential edible apples off of them, or crab apples, but they will be good flowering, just checking to see where they're coming from there. Yeah, there's, it's a little windy now, I can't tell. Over here is my green grapes. These are the best ones. They're actually really good right now, coming along. I'll probably have to protect them from those gosh darn Japanese beetles here soon enough, so I'll probably have to spray them. I have some crepe myrtles trying to come up over here where this tree is planted now. It used to be a big crepe myrtle tree, and it would drop these little guys right here, and they're seed packets, and I guess they fell there, and that's where the crepe myrtles keep trying to come out, so I keep having to pull them up. So let's walk over here. And first I'll start with my one unfortunate failure. This guy here, I sliced too deep, I think, into the actual rootstock when I was trying to graft onto it, and the graft just didn't take, and the actual rootstock started to rot underneath it because all the water was getting trapped on it. So that was unfortunate. I had to take off the grafting tape on it, and when I did, the graft just came right off like super easy. There was no connection at all on it. So, I just decided what I would do is I would leave it, let it grow this year, and then hopefully one of these shoots here thickens up enough, or I could even graft on this cut. I'll cut down below it and I'll graft onto it for next year. I'll get some grafts shipped to me and get a couple more varieties of apple here. All right, so stepping over here, this was where my pear that I showed in the last video was. When I came out here and did a scratch test on it the other day, it was dead. It had finally died. Before, it still had a decent amount of green on it, which means it was alive. But the roots got decimated when it got down to 9 degrees, and it was the only tree that was still in a bucket out here. I just never had the time to get out here before the cold weather hit to put it in the ground. So that was unfortunate. But in its place, I did get a very nice size 4 to 5 foot Liberty apple tree here. So I was surprised they could still ship it this late in the year, but they did. It does have some good buds already trying to go off of it here. So I'm hoping these will go. I'm hoping this one will actually go up here. And then I'll probably just tip it above that. Unless, no, there's no bud there, it's gone. So hopefully that one will go, and because that'll be the terminal bud then. And I just gotta make sure to keep it watered and happy, and hopefully we'll produce some apples next year. We're right on the edge for chill hours with this. Like, I think it needs about 800 chill hours, and we get around 1,000 chill hours here in Alabama. Of course, with the climate change, might not, but I figure even if it doesn't actually grow any apples, it'll be a good spot where I could graft onto and eventually get some other varieties that would produce. So, hey, we'll see what happens. Actually, my one apple I had on not my Redlicious, but my pink lady tree last year was actually, I got a flower off a Liberty apple at Home Depot, and I brought it home with me, and I actually self-pollinated it with that. I have no idea where those came from. I think somehow or another, even though it's not supposed to be able to, my Arkansas black pollinated them, and it's a triploid, which means it has 3 chromosomes compared to most other apple trees that have 2 chromosomes, a diploid. And so it's not supposed to be its pollen is supposed to be infertile to other apples, but that's the only thing I can think of, because I had used a Q-tip to try to at least get, I wasn't sure if any of my other ones were going to flower, at least get one variety of apple, because with 3 chromosomes needed, it needs at least 2 usually, but 1 will sometimes work, and it did kind of work, but the Arkansas black apple never really, it just kind of never grew after it got pollinated. So it was unfortunate. I just had to pick it off, and that's another reason to get all these different apple varieties here, is it'll help me get some Arkansas black apples off of that. Okay, walking over here, I guess I'll take you over to the other apple that I got right now. So this is a Granny Smith apple I bought 3 weeks ago. It's looking much better now. Today when I came out here to start filming this, and it was like 85 degrees after a couple days in the 90s, not so much rain, everything was pretty droopy here. It was really sad, and it just needs some water. So got to be more cognizant, especially since this was a bare root tree. It's late in the year, usually not a good time, but they don't like heat because it uses a lot of water and their roots aren't established yet. So this one and that Liberty, I have to just keep an eye on and make sure that they stay watered and stay happy when they're growing. But growth on it looks really good. I'm really happy with it. As long as it stays watered, it'll be happy, and it should grow very well. All right, so now we're done with the apples. I'm gonna walk over here and we'll take a look at our nectarines. Now these nectarines here are 2 of a 3 pair that I did last, I want to say May or June. I got the nectarines from the store, ate them, and then I took the pits and I germinated the seeds that were inside those pits, and then I planted them in some 2-3 gallon pots, and then grew them from there. So these 2 sat over here. Ooh, focused on my hand. And then that other one that's over there beside the peach, it sat over here as well. These 2 never had any problems. That one over there almost died when I went to Daytona in August. I guess just from lack of water, plus it was like 100 degrees every day and it just wasn't having it. I came back, it was drooping really bad, and I didn't think it was salvageable because I had that problem with some of my other peaches that I tried to germinate last year. They just drooped and died. So I thought that was going to be happening with the nectarine too, but I watered it and nursed it back to health, and somehow everything worked out. Okay, so these nectarines here have put on at least four feet of growth, I would say. If we come on in down here and look, I actually pruned them back to, can I find it? Can I find it? This one actually grew out of the stock itself, but I pruned these back to this lateral here. Then let's see, okay. Where are you? So many branches, they're hard to find. Okay, yes. So see, I get out of the way, leaf. Actually pruned it back to here, and generally this height all the way around, and it's put on from here all the way up to here. That's a good 3 feet on that one. This one has around 4 feet of growth, and same over here. So they've all grown really well. So my goal here as we move into the summer is just to continue to let them grow. And then what I will do around the September time frame is I will come out and I will tip prune these back, most likely to around here. I'm gonna choose probably 4 to 5 different lateral branches, and cut and keep them and tip prune them back. The rest are gonna go because I don't need that extra, especially like these guys who are very horizontal here. That's not good. If they ever get fruit on them, they'll just fall down, snap, and cause a big canker on the tree, and we don't want that. So I will get all of this growth in the middle out as well, so it can be an open center, and just kind of control the growth and height of these, because I don't want them to be too high. I don't have a ton of space. I don't want them to be too wide, but as long as they're producing, you know, a couple dozen apples, a couple dozen nectarines, then I'll be happy, because it's not like we can eat that many, and Nikki doesn't like too many of the varieties out here. So she likes the apples, not so much peaches, nectarines, stuff like that. So these will mostly be me. I mean, I could do it. I could eat them. But yeah. All right, so moving over here. This peach here, this is the only real variety of these I know, is a Red Haven I got from Walmart. I've already got it at an open center here. It's looking pretty good. It's got some growth I'll take out as we go into summer, maybe next spring, before things break bud. It actually has one peach. It's kind of crazy. It's actually on the branch down here that didn't grow any. So it's sitting in there. This branch didn't grow anything, but it's off of that. So maybe all the energy is going to the peach. I don't know. So the only thing I really have to do is watch the trunk and make sure I spray it in July, August, and September for any sort of borers, so it doesn't try to get in there and kill my tree off. And the peaches themselves are protected by that netting, so there shouldn't be any problem. I don't think there's going to be any issues. Hopefully, knock on knock on wood with that. And then I'll come back and I will get these shaped up in the summer, and then again in the spring next year. So same thing over here. This one looks really good. It's put on a ton of growth, and it has a couple peaches on it. I don't want too many right now anyway. I'm still trying to establish my my root system on these, so I'm happy with them. And I'll walk over here and look at this guy here. This peach here came from that tree last August, and then I germinated it and had it planted out here, I think in September or October of last year. And as you can see, this one's a little easier to find where I pruned it, it was basically all this height right here. And so all of this here, this is what, 1 foot, 2 foot, 2.5 feet, 2.5 feet of growth on this one. So really good, really happy with it. Coming over here, this is the nectarine that almost died. It survived. And, you know, it was pretty sad last winter sitting in the ground after it dropped its leaves. There wasn't much there, so I didn't have to prune much off of it. But it actually came back really well. Really happy with it. We'll see how it goes. As with the other peaches and nectarines, I'll be pruning it this summer and then pruning it again in the spring next year before bud break. And then last two, these were gotten from just some peaches. I think I bought at Walmart or somewhere, maybe Publix. I don't know. I ate the peach, got the pit, germinated the seed, and these sat on my back porch all winter. And I just let them sit out there, grow, and then once it got cold enough, they stopped growing. So they're about half the size they are now, which isn't too bad. And then they've put on a lot of growth, especially since they finally established, like in the last month or so. So you can see essentially everything from here on out is new growth, and all this very bright green stuff up here, that's all new growth. So they all look very good, and I'm happy. And we will see how things go, especially with this new Liberty. We'll see how it grows and adjusts. I need to get out here and paint it white to protect it from sun scalding. If you don't know what sun scalding is, this tree has no leaves on it. Sorry, I had a bug on my hand. Has no leaves on it. And since it has no leaves on it, it's not getting any sort of nutrients. It's not drawing any water. All the water's staying in the roots. All the energy's staying in the roots right now. But it's going to try to push, leaves out. It's going to try to push energy through this root, through this actual stalk here. And what happens is it's not drawing the water right now, or it's not getting the carbohydrates going down. It doesn't have that circulation really strong right now. It overheats in the sunlight. It's much like us. If we don't have protection, we don't have sunscreen on, we'll burn and turn bright red, especially me. So, you know, it needs to get a coat of white paint, which reflects the sunlight, keeps it cooler, and will actually deter any sort of bugs from trying to get into the bark of the tree too, until it can get a decent amount of growth on it. So that's why you see these with white paint on them, because it protects them from bugs, especially the peaches and nectarines, because they like to have borers on them, and it protects them from getting potentially damaging cankers on the side of them. That's what will happen. You'll actually get a giant canker. This one has a little bit of damage on it right here. You see, it's a little bit of a canker right now. Thankfully, the paint from last year and this year protected it, but it could have been a lot worse than that. For instance, I'll show you over here. This isn't a fruit tree, but this is a Kwanzan cherry tree. Pink cherries, big, bright, beautiful blossoms, flowers. But I didn't have the paint on it last year. And it was new, and it wasn't used to Alabama sun. So it got this giant canker on it right here. Really giant, bad canker. I might eventually kill it. I don't know. But I painted it, and it hasn't got worse, and it started to grow over it. And I mean, these have split here too, but they're not really that bad. Nothing like this huge split that happened. And I'm just glad it survived. So, that's something you just got to watch out for. So I will probably try Monday to get some paint on this. I would like to do it tomorrow, but I'm going to be busy tomorrow. So, yeah, probably won't have time to do that. So, that is the orchard update for now. We will see how things stand in about 10 days or so. Hopefully, it's supposed to be pretty cool the next couple days, so hopefully not too much more in the way of heat damage on my graft graft leaves, and yeah, we'll see how our little apples grow, or if they grow, or if they just fall off. This one might just fall off because it doesn't. It has that wound on it, but we'll see. Oh yeah, and I have this guy here. My fun attempt, when I was buying trees for the first time in, I think it was April of 2021 when we first got the house. I was like, oh, it'd be really cool, just have a nice little evergreen tree. I really like the southern magnolia, so let me get that. And then it's like, but I really want apple trees, so let me get a couple of those. And Nikki wanted a dogwood tree, and I got that. It died. It just didn't do well with the heat either. Oh, hey. There's nature at work. We got us a ladybug taking care of some aphids for me. Thanks, ladybug. But yeah, so what I've been doing, probably to the detriment of this tree, since I can't have it shading out my apples over here, I have been trying to open center this southern magnolia. So that's been interesting. I mean, it's going. And I will let it grow for a bit here. And then I'll probably chop it up again this summer. So, hey, yeah, you make do what you got. But all right, this video is, oh Lord, it's 31 minutes long. So I will go ahead and wrap that up. I hope you enjoyed listening to my monotone voice. And yeah, have a great one, and I will update y'all again on the 30th. Actually, no, I may not update on the 30th because I might actually be home in Georgia. We will see. It depends on if my job actually lets us out on the weekend there. But anyway, have a good one. This is Getting Curried Away, signing off.